Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive. Today we're tackling SARMs, specifically RAD140.
Always a hot topic.
It is. It promises muscle growth, but like with anything that sounds too good to be true, well, we've got a juicy scientific study and some stories from real-life bodybuilders to unpack, so let's see what's what.
Sounds intriguing.
So this study, right, it looked at how RAD140 affects strength and muscle as we age, especially using, get this, mice.
Ah, the classic lab subjects.
I know, right? Makes you think of those tiny treadmills. But anyway, they were looking at muscle. But, and here's the kicker, RAD140 was supposed to be beneficial.
Yeah, the whole point of SARMs is kind of cool, actually. Think of testosterone like a master key, unlocking tons of things in your body, including muscle growth, but also stuff you might not want, hence the side effects.
So like unlocking hair loss while going for bigger biceps.
Exactly. So they designed SARMs like RAD140 to be pickier, targeting mainly muscle growth without the hormonal craziness.
Clever. Tricking the body into gains, I like it. But then this study kind of throws a wrench in that plan.
It does. Get this. They found RAD140, even though meant to be good, actually increased the risk of early death in the mice.
No way. Seriously, increased risk of death. That's not a wrench. That's a whole demolition crew. And not just old mice, right?
Right. And that's the alarming part. Both young and old were affected, like it sped up aging itself.
Okay, now I'm picturing mice with tiny canes. But wow, red flag alert. Did they figure out why this happened?
They did. They found damage to the liver and kidneys in the mice given RD140. Protein carbonylation, they called it.
Sounds intense.
Think of it like rust on your cells, basically damage and stress.
So not just muscle, but messing with organs too. Yikes. And this is just mice. What about us humans?
The million-dollar question. That's where we look beyond the lab and see what's happening in the real world.
Which is exactly where we're headed next.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got the lab results, the mice, the whole 9 yards. But what about people actually using RE140 out there in the wild? That's what I want to know.
Right. Got to bridge that lab-to-life gap. Just remember, though, we're talking anecdotes now, not a controlled study like before, grain of salt and all that.
Makes sense, like reading a restaurant review versus actually eating there, right?
Yeah.
So what are people saying about their RE140 experience?
Well, first off, this stuff is popular, like really popular. People are chasing those quick gains, big muscles, you know the drill.
Who doesn't want an edge at the gym? Right. It's like the siren song of fitness. But, and this is a big but, what about those downsides people are reporting?
Yeah, and some are pretty intense. One that pops up a lot is mood swings. And not just a little grumpy, I mean full-blown aggression, almost like a different person.
Whoa. Okay, that's not the kind of game you want. Makes you wonder if it's worth it. What else are we seeing?
Hair loss, which isn't surprising given the hormones involved, but still not great. And then this one's scarier. Liver damage.
Wait, seriously? Like actually damaging their liver?
Yeah, and not just mild stuff either. We're talking people ending up at the doctor's worried sick.
Okay, that just took a turn, especially with the study showing organ damage too. It's like those mice are trying to warn us.
Right. Real world, echoing the lab, even if it's not a perfect comparison.
What other side effects are people reporting? This is fascinating and kind of terrifying.
2 more big ones. Blood pressure going haywire, like debilitating headache levels. And then, this seems counterintuitive, but insomnia.
You'd think working out hard would knock you out, but...
Oh! Nope, people saying they're wired, can't sleep a wink.
So messed up sleep, mood swings, potential organ damage.
Yeah.
And it's like RAD140 throws a party, but your body's not invited.
That is a disturbingly accurate way to put it. And this is where connecting the dots is so important.
All right, so let's connect them. We've got research and real people saying similar things. What does it all mean? So we've gone from mice in the lab to people hitting the gym, all trying to unlock those RAD140 secrets. And man, it's been a wild ride. Kind of makes you think twice about quick fixes, huh?
Right. It's that risk versus reward thing. Always a tough call, especially when it's your own body on the line. That's why this whole what's it all mean part is so crucial.
Absolutely. So we've got research throwing up red flags, real people echoing those same concerns.
Yeah.
What's the big takeaway here? I mean, what are we supposed to do with all this info?
Well, to me, it screams like, hey, think critically, especially with anything promising amazing results, you know. It's easy to get swept up in the hype, but gotta look deeper.
Yeah, just because they slap selective on a label, like with SARMs, doesn't mean it's harmless.
Our bodies are complicated. Messing with one thing, even with good intentions, there can be consequences.
Totally. Like trying to fine-tune a race car, you tweak one thing, suddenly the whole engine's out of whack. And in this case, that engine's your health. So how do we even navigate all this? There's so much info out there, it's overwhelming. How do we make smart choices about what we're putting into our bodies?
That's the million-dollar question, right? I think it starts with being a skeptical consumer. Question everything. Don't just buy into the marketing, dig into the research, especially the downsides.
Right, like don't just take their word for it, do your own homework.
Exactly. Talk to experts, talk to your doctor, even talk to people who've used RAD140, see what their experience was like.
And remember, everyone's different. What works for one person might not work for another.
Exactly. It's not one size fits all. It's about finding what works for you. Safely, sustainably, the whole 9 yards.
It's a journey, not a race.
Well said. Figuring it out as we go.
Aren't we all? Well, on that note, one final thought to leave you with. We've dug deep into RAD140, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But what about those other SARMs out there? Are they all cut from the same cloth, or are some potentially safer? Maybe a deep dive for another day. But until then, stay curious, stay informed, and we'll catch you next time.